Hello world, Krista here with Books and Jams, and if you watched my vlog from last Saturday, you know that I have been going to some library book sales, and some of you may be very anxious to find out what books I picked out. So I am going to show you what I got last week, and also today I went to another library book sale, which was the biggest of them all, and I have a ton of books surrounding me right now. So I'm just going to jump right in and start telling you about the books that I picked up in the last 2 weekends in 4 library sales. I'm very excited. These sales are ones that happen annually, so they're bigger than the normal just little shelf of books that's available. I think altogether of the books that I have here, I spent under $50, maybe even under $40. I think it is actually under $40, and I have well over 40 books. So if that doesn't tell you that I got good deals, then I don't know what will. I think I already held up the 5 Philippa Gregory books that I got from the Fill a Bag for $5 library sale that I went to. So let me just real quick go over them again. I got The Boleyn Inheritance, The Queen's Fool, The Red Queen, The Kingmaker's Daughter, and The Lady of the Rivers. In 2018, I'm going to get down to reading some Philippa Gregory because I haven't read any yet. But when you find them for so cheap, you can't resist. I did pick up 2 more today, The Other Queen and The Virgin's Lover, and these were both only 50 cents a piece. So that is 7 more Philippa Gregory books to add to my collection. Guess I better start reading some. In that Fill-A-Bag collection, I also have another Ted Dekker book that I have read before called Sinner, and I'm slowly just kind of gathering Ted Dekker books. I also have picked up Ruby by Cynthia Bond, which I have read before, pre-BookTube days. I don't really remember it very much, but I do know it is a historical fiction set in Texas. I really enjoyed it. Now I have a copy of it. A few more historical fiction books that I got there were Grace Hammer by Sarah Stockbridge. This one is set in Victorian London in the underground. It deals with murder and revenge and stolen fortunes and romance, and I thought that it sounded interesting. Another historical fiction is called The Spy Mistress by Jennifer Chiavarini. And this is set in America during the Civil War or post-Civil War, where this nurse in Virginia starts caring for Union soldiers, but she is collecting secrets and is ultimately a spy. 2 more historical fiction set in the South, Temple of Secrets by Susan Gabriel, and this one is about the Temple family of Savannah, Georgia, and all of their secrets. And I believe at some point some of these family secrets start being leaked out to the local newspaper. So it kind of rocks the whole town of Savannah. Then I grabbed Tayari Jones' book called Silver Sparrow, and this is about a girl whose father is a bigamist, and the one family knows about the other family. I'm not sure if they're all aware of each other or not, but that's something I haven't read about too much, and this is set in Atlanta, Georgia. I see this one all the time at used book sales, but I have never picked it up, and it's called The Inheritance of Loss by Kiran Desai. This is set in part in the Himalayas. Then this also deals with colonialism and loss and grief, and it won the Man Booker Prize in 2006. And one more book that's set in Asia. This one is not in Asia. This one is actually set in the Middle East. This is called The Kingdom of Men by Kim Barnes. This is about a woman who grew up in a very, very small, poor community in Oklahoma, but ends up marrying someone who goes to work in an oil company in Saudi Arabia. So just the drastically different society and type of life. That's a part of the world that I don't read very much about, and I'm very interested too. So I'm glad that I have this one. 2 more in my Fill a Bag for $5 are Made in the USA by Billy Letts. It's about a family, actually some young teenage or almost teenage children who are living with their mom, but then she dies in a Walmart, I believe, and they have to decide if they're going to become wards of the state or kind of take off in their mother's car. The last one in that bag is called Up High in the Trees by Kiara Brinkman, and this one is about a little boy who deals with some loss, one of his parents or both of his parents, and he begins to have some dreams that are kind of strange. I always am drawn to books about loss in some form or another, or grief, so I just thought that this was really interesting. All the blurbs on the back say that it's haunting and beautiful, and so I know that this one is going to be one that I'll have a box of tissues near me when I read it. I'm going to have to split this in half, but I'll do the ones that I got today because they're fresh on my mind. So today at the library book sale, all of the hardcovers were $2 and the paperbacks were 50 cents. And I always give myself a $10 limit, but when I went in and saw how big this was, I was like, oh, let's do 20, just because I knew that I would find a lot of things, and I was right. So I picked up 2 Louise Penny books that are part of the Armand Gamache mystery series. I don't know which order these ones are, but I have read Still Life and I have Fatal Grace, which is book 2. So I don't know where these fall, and I think there's a whole bunch of them, but I have The Nature of the Beast and The Beautiful Mystery. All of these novels take place in a town called Three Pines, and I really enjoyed the first one, and I know that these are well loved by some other friends of mine on BookTube, so I'm looking forward to reading more Louise Penny. I picked up a whole series of Tracy Peterson, well, a whole trilogy, Christian fiction trilogy by Tracy Peterson. This is The Land of the Lone Star, so these take place, there'll be historical fiction that take place in Texas, and it's chasing the sun, touching the sky, and Taming the Wind. And I'm sure these involve either brothers or sisters or friends. Each one will follow a different character that is in some of the other books. So I'm just glad to have all of those. And since they were 50 cents a piece, it was only $1.50 for the whole trilogy. Can't go wrong with that. I have a couple other books by Jasper Fforde, and I didn't realize at first that this was a series. So the first one is called The Air Affair, then there's Lost in a Book and The Well of Lost Plots are the first 3, and then this one, Something Rotten, is book 4. So I know I have a few of the other ones. I have to check and see which ones I'm still looking for. But it was in perfect condition, and I knew that I would be reading this series eventually. I grabbed a couple books that have to do with letters. This is a thing, I guess, that I was into today. The first one is called Letters from Skye by Jessica Brockmole, and this is about a poet who lives in the Isle of Skye in Scotland, and she's never left her island, but she starts receiving letters from a fan of her poetry, and they begin a correspondence, and it has the backdrop of World War I at first, and then her daughter somehow begins a romance during World War II, and so she tries to warn her off. This just has a backdrop of wars and has to do with letters. I knew that it would be something that I would like. The next book I got is called Letters from Home by Christina McMorris, and this is blurbed on the front by Kristen Hanna, which you know that I love Kristen Hanna. I believe this is with a backdrop of war and soldiers and their family and loved ones at home writing back and forth, and so I know that this one will make me cry, and it's a beautiful cover. I know nothing about these next 2 books. This one is called this one is called Amsterdam by Ian McEwan, and it is the winner of the Booker Prize. I'm not sure what year, but there is no synopsis on here, so I don't really know anything about it. I do know that at the beginning of the year, I'm going to go through my shelves and try to read a lot of my shorter books, and this is a shorter book, so I thought I would add this to that collection. It won a prize, so I thought I'd give it a shot. And then this is called Ordinary Grace by William Kent Kruger. And when I looked at the synopsis of this, it's about it's about a man who, when he was a teenager, experienced a period of time where he lost a lot of people in his life. So it's now, as he's an older man, trying to deal with the grief of that and trying to make sense of life in general. So I just thought that this was something that I would really like. I got Bellman in Black by Diane Setterfield. She is the author of The 13th Tale, and so I thought that this would be a lot of fun to read another book by her because I did enjoy The 13th Tale. This is about a man named William Bellman who, when he is a child, uses a slingshot to kill a bird in a tree, which seems like such a small, insignificant event, but eventually that is going to play a big part in his life as an adult. And the cover of this is also gorgeous. We shall see what I think about that one. I grabbed As Old as Time, A Twisted Tale by Liz Braswell. I think I've seen other Twisted Tales from another booktuber, I can't remember who, and maybe I've seen some on Book Outlet as well. This is a twisted take on Beauty and the Beast, where what if Belle's mother is the one who cursed the beast? So that just sounded super interesting to me, and I'm really looking forward to reading that. I picked up 2 books because their covers are gorgeous. I apparently like gold foil on covers today. This one is by John Connolly, and it's the Book of Lost Things. and I know nothing about it, but I couldn't resist that cover. I feel like I've seen this one on BookTube though, so I would be interested to know if any of you have read it and what you thought about it. And then I also picked up The Tale of the 1002nd Night by Joseph Roth. And I don't know much about this story itself. Let me just read what it says about Joseph Roth on the back. Joseph Roth, was one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century, a versatile writer of extraordinary range who was able to capture cross-sections of entire societies. Written in exile shortly before the Nazi annexation of Roth's native Austria, The Tale of the 1002nd Night could not be published in Germany until well after the fall of the Third Reich. It appears now in English for the first time, one of the last major novels by Roth to be translated for English language readers. So I'm super curious about this story that could not be published in Germany until after the fall of the Third Reich, which is World War II. I'm very excited to see this. It's like a continuation of 1001 Nights, I'm assuming. And finally today I grabbed These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. This is a YA about a young girl who really wants to be a journalist, yet has some secrets in her past, I believe. I don't know much more about it than that, but I am very intrigued. All right, I'm gonna stop there because I have a ton more to show you. So if you have read any of these books, or if you are interested in any of them, let me know. I'm very excited to find cheap books. I can never resist. So that is where I'm gonna end for today. I would love to chat with you down in the comments, and be sure to keep an eye out because the other half of this haul will be coming very soon. All right, bye.